Good morning and welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, streaming online at kvre.com and on iHeartRadio. Good morning to you. Good morning to Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, did you survive all the ice and snow? Glad to see you back in the studio.
Snow again. It was all right because we had so many games that we were playing, Mark, and watching. It was unbelievable. So we just had to watch those games, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
good.
That's right. You know, of course, the kids got to really enjoy some great time off from school. And of course, we live on a hill, so sledding is paramount, and they absolutely loved it. I'm personally glad that they're back in the classroom this week, though, because it has been a long time out. But you mentioned so many great sporting events going on. Of course, the sporting world always continues, rain, sleet, or snow, and a lot of great action that we're going to talk about on this week's show, whether it's the CFP championship game, a wild NFL wild card week, and some great local sports stories as well. But as we kick off this week's show, we're going to begin with the NFL and a potential rule change that may be on the books for the NFL beginning next season. So, Tracy, it's no surprise that the change to the NFL kickoff and the subsequent changes to NFL onside kicks haven't been received very well by fans, by players. And when you look at the numbers, specifically when it comes to onside kicks, the NFL is not attempting very many of these, and when they are attempting them, they're not being completed successfully. So let's break this down a little bit. The rule change with onside kicks has really been delegated to fourth quarter usage only, and only if, as a team, you publicly declare that you are going to attempt an onside kick. Now, I know that NFL purists and NFL fans of old are probably with the same opinion as me, as like, boy, that really takes away the luster of the onside kick to begin with, because the whole point of this play on special teams was to have a surprise kick there to try to regain possession back. Now, based on formations and how it's lined up, you can probably see that it's coming. Sure, you don't need that public declaration, but I think that surprise element and the ability of kickers to really flex their talent and to make these magical moments happen has really kind of been taken away by the rule changes here. And whenever you look into the NFL season, by week 15 of this year, there had only been 41 onside kicks attempted up to that point during the season, and only 3 of those 41 had been recovered. That is 7.3% of attempts. And the NFL is looking at changing things, referring to the onside kick as a dead play. Before we go in further, Tracy, I want to get your thoughts on, really just the lack of usage that we've seen with the play this season.
It's just changed the complexion of style of the come from behind. Totally. I mean, it's going to change of course, the play call now, obviously, to where you thought, in the past, we got a chance. We're down 2 scores. We score, we onside, we may come back. I think it's taking a little bit of the luster out of the game, to be honest with you. Now, I know it's all about safety reasons, Mark, but still, when you start changing the course of the game by omitting such things as the onside kick, you're changing more. It's a domino effect. And do they ever take the players in consideration? Well, they say they are because of the safety measures. But do they ever take them in on it as making the rule change? From now, it's mainly up to the owners and to somebody else that's making the decisions, probably the TV, commercials and such like that, all the different emphasis on the media. But the thing about it is, I don't favor it at all. I mean, begin with, like you were saying, the percentage, I don't know what the percentage was prior to this, but 7% now as it is with the new lineups on the kickoffs. I just think it's taken the style away from football altogether. The complexion has totally changed. Now, I know you're fixing to talk about the new rulings that are going to come up in order to take its place and such. And we're going to talk about how, if that's, pro or con on it. But I just think that it's changed the complexion of the game now. And that if you get down 2 scores, I mean, it's almost like, well, oh, well. You know, I mean, it's just changed so many. Think about it, Mark. Let's go back to when Tampa Bay onside kicked, or even New Orleans onside kicked to get back. Neither one of those teams would have went in the playoffs. Tampa Bay wouldn't have went to the Super Bowl. So now you just do away with it altogether? I mean, if that's not changing the complexion, it's bad enough that the refs take control of the game sometimes, but now you're telling them what they can and cannot do.
Well, you brought up a good point. What about the players?
Yeah,
and of course, we're talking about player safety. Yes, and player safety is absolutely important. But think about players that are special teams.
That's it.
Players.
That's it.
Think about, the Adam Sandler song, The Lonesome Kicker out there. Think about how changes like this would impact their impact on the game, for lack of a better word, because you're going to start seeing special teams players' roles diminish within squads, and it's like you very frequently say, there's three facets to football: offense, defense, and special teams. It's a very important part of the game that's really being done away with slowly, piece by piece. I've got a son that has aspirations to be an NFL kicker. There's not very many of those out there, but that's his dream. He doesn't want to go be a running back or a quarterback. He wants to go kick the football. And I try to remind him, I say, hey, Ben, there's a lot of pressure that comes with that, right?
Man.
But that's what he wants. But
you got to have a dream.
Well, we got to make sure that we have kicking opportunities besides field goals and punts by the time he gets to that age to get to the NFL. But anyway, you mentioned, okay, so what now? The NFL is looking at this as a dead play. Okay, no one's attempting it, and when they are, they're not attempting it successfully. So what can they do instead? Because the NFL is still an entertainment industry, and they're wanting to keep fans engaged. So the proposal, actually, we back up a little bit, because there has been one specific idea that has been proposed frequently over the past few years, not even taking this season into consideration, and that is, instead of attempting an onside kick, teams getting a chance, one down, to convert a 4th down and 20. If they get 20 yards, then they can keep possession of the football. The Philadelphia Eagles are the most recent team to re-propose this rule, and according to Troy Vincent, who's the league's executive vice president of football operations, it looks like this might be finally gaining some traction. Of course, this has been voted on multiple times over the past few years. It was popular enough, it was proposed in as early as 2019, where it was actually voted on, where the competition committee voted 7-1 in favor of the proposal, but then was immediately shot down by all the league's 32 owners. It also was brought up again in 2020 and in 2021, but the owners roadblocked the discussion. They tabled it. No vote was held in those years, and it basically fell by the wayside. But it's regaining traction, regaining popularity. The Eagles are the one to bring it to the table this time, but multiple teams, to be honest, are in favor of this, just to allow something different there, trying to keep player safety in mind, but also giving that opportunity for that one play to swing momentum in football games.
Well, Mark, even right now, though, you're talking about your swinging momentums. Even with the new rules, you have to be behind. You can only do it in the 4th quarter. They're changing this strategically more than what the outside person, the person that's never maybe played, they're just watching the game from being a fan standpoint, who at this point, let's look in 5, even 10 years, when Ben's going to be older, will they even remember what an onside kick is and what it was, what it meant to the game? Probably not. Half these owners won't even be there, probably. You know what I mean? So is this something that's going to be, it's going to happen no matter what the players want. Like we said a while ago, if the guys with the money want it done, it's going to get done. And I don't know if the emphasis is on the media end of it, to where it makes it, it's 7 seconds. Okay, can it turn the game around? Yeah. Mm-hmm. But here's the kicker too, though. By onside kicking, is it making the game last longer? Maybe with them tying the ball game? Maybe we're not looking at the big picture of this at all. Maybe it's not just the X's and O's, but the dollar signs. So I know they're all saying it's the safety of the players. Well, is it? Because if you think about it, not necessarily, they don't want too many games going over their allotted time. It's just a different aspect, Mark. I'm just throwing the numbers game up there because you're a numbers guy.
That's an interesting angle. I wouldn't have considered it from that avenue.
I know, but think about that. These guys, they make a lot of money. And if you don't need those special teams guys anymore, guess who gets that money that they were paying them? The owners.
Well, one thing that we've noticed, of course, we're very privy to high school football here in Arkansas. And certainly in this past season with Fountain Lake, we saw onside kicks pretty much every switch in possession, right? And of course, Kevin Kelly is an Arkansas coaching mastermind who's really kind of made his bread and butter on the onside kick. So it would be interesting to see if a change comes down on the NFL side, how does that trickle down into lower levels of football? What does that look like on the college level and ultimately down to the high school level? Would we see change or would we not see change there? Different governing bodies, of course. How come
they haven't done it yet on the kickoffs?
Well,
it's been implemented now for 2 years.
You're starting to wonder now. Okay, so the NFL made kicking changes on the kickoff, which still blows my mind every time I look at it. But college hasn't done it.
No.
High school hasn't done it.
No.
If it's a safety issue across the board. Now, I get it. Running full speed at somebody, I can understand that. Now, the onside
broke my
kick,
collarbone on a kickoff. Back in high school.
But on the onside kick kind of things where you're lined up and you're really just 10 yards apart from one another, it's different to me than running 65 yards down the field, straight into somebody. The momentum, the physics that's generated with that. So, those changes haven't been seen on the college and high school levels in regards to the kickoff or even the onside kick. So how much of a player safety issue could it be really in regards to onside kicks?
That's what I was proposing a while ago.
We would love to hear from you, the listener. Should the NFL do away with the onside kick? It doesn't seem like it's happening very much as it is. Would you be in favor of swapping it for a 4th down and 20 play to keep the ball for the possessing team? Let us know on the text line, 501-915-1300. We have a great show for you planned this week. When we come back, we've got to break down the CFP title game, Ohio State and Notre Dame. I know you all had those two in the end, didn't you? We'll talk about it more when we come back on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE.
Second quarter coming up.
And we're back, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE with Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. All right, Tracy, 12 teams entered, and now there are just 2. We're talking about the college football playoff. The championship game is upon us on Monday night, and the 2 teams that everybody had in the title game were absolutely the 7 seed and the 8 seed. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Come on. If you really had Ohio State and Notre Dame on your bingo card, you need to be buying lottery tickets like yesterday. But the first 12-team CFP is down to those 2 teams. They're going to meet Monday night in Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium for all the marbles. Notre Dame seeks its first title since 1988. I was 1 year old. The Irish lost to Alabama in the 2012 BCS National Championship game, while Ohio State won the inaugural CFP National Championship 10 years ago under Coach Urban Meyer. The Fighting Irish outlasted Penn State 27-24 in a thriller. I actually watched that game, Tracy, and I watched as the Nittany Lions looked like they were going to punch their ticket, cross the finish line, and then your 2 favorite parts of football, penalties and turnovers, turned the tide in the final moments, and Notre Dame kicked its way into the title game. Such a close call for Penn State, who just barely misses out. Notre Dame held on. What'd you think?
Well, Joe, so many close calls when he was coaching and such, but it was a classic. But here's the deal about all of it. You're going to have the refs in on it, but luckily, the games that have been played so far have been relatively clean. I mean, it's been good. But my question mark, 12, the start, the inaugural, the 12. And that matchup with number 1 and number 2, no.
Yeah.
No. So did they get it right this time? No.
It's the same question we ask every week on this show,
exactly,
right?
And so, and what did they get the best teams in here? I think so from the get-go. I think they were some of the better teams, and I know you being a Duck, it wasn't their night.
It wasn't their night.
And if you'd have matched them up again maybe a week later, the Moon was in the better phase, then maybe the Ducks would have been flying higher. But as it is right now, with the way they set it up, the brackets, I think it was leaning in these two teams' favor, to be honest with you. And I think that it was I don't know. I think it was a soft bracket, to be honest with you. I think
you really think so?
I think the 12 that were seeded, I don't think they were the best teams that we had going on right now.
Okay.
I think the two of the best.
So do you still wish that you would have seen Alabama, Miami, South Carolina in the mix?
I think a South Carolina team that they didn't even feel like they wanted to play. You see when they played in their bowl game?
Yeah.
They didn't even show up.
The wind was not in those sails that night either.
Yeah, they did. Well, half their players, they didn't play. The ones that ended up not even playing. But it was such a demoralizing to them after having a 6-game run on two of the teams that were in the playoffs, and they beat them. So you don't make the playoffs. It's like Florida State from a year ago.
Well, 12 teams make it.
Right.
There were, I would say 3, maybe 4 teams, because I'm still kind of high on Army. There's 4 teams that kind of got left out that I think at least deserved to be in the discussion. I don't necessarily disagree that all 4 should have been in.
No.
But what we did see here is we saw 4 teams receive first-round byes. All 4 of those teams ended up losing after that first-round bye.
And not only losing, they got thumped.
So that's something to consider there. When you look at, yes, I'm an Oregon fan, and yes, I am completely accepting of what happened to the Oregon Ducks, because I think that the favorite in the CFP title game absolutely must be the Buckeyes of Ohio State.
Yeah.
This is a team. Hey, they went in to Eugene, one of Autzen Stadium, one of the toughest places to play in the entire country, and they made Oregon pay for that 1-point loss way back in October. And I think that they're a team to be reckoned with here. I was not surprised at all to see what they did to Texas in that game, the SEC's last and final hope there, right? In their first season in the SEC. Mm-hmm. We can go into a whole discussion on SEC being up or down this year. It was absolutely down this year. But Will Howard, that Ohio State quarterback, has multiple weapons at his disposal. He's great at reading opposing defenses and reacting accordingly. And we've seen that in back-to-back games against what I would consider elite level competition in Texas and Oregon. This is a young man's got ice in his veins. Of course, he's going to be going against Notre Dame quarterback Riley Leonard, who we've seen can attack with his arms and his legs. He runs the ball well. The offense for the Fighting Irish will absolutely go through him. But I think Ohio State proved that that win over Oregon was no fluke. They took down the Longhorns in dominant fashion. Big 14-point fourth quarter, punching their ticket to Titletown. And, this is going to be a really good matchup. It's 7 versus 8. And, maybe not the matchup everybody predicted, but I still think we've got a really good football game ahead of us on Monday night. Defensively, Notre Dame loves to play in man coverage. That's something that Ohio State's receivers are very, very gifted against.
Ooh, man.
The questions that I ask myself going into this game, can Notre Dame's offensive line hold up long enough to give Leonard and the Fighting Irish time to make big plays? And, can they bring enough pressure against Howard to disrupt the Buckeyes' rhythm? Those are the questions. I think if they're able to do that, then I think Notre Dame is going to be sitting pretty at the end of Monday night. And of course, you have to remember, with them being an independent school, not in any conference, they don't have to share the pot of winnings with anyone.
Well, and here's the deal. I mean, the Ohio State, of course, looking much best on paper, and obviously Vegas thinks so too, a 10-point favorite.
Yeah.
But I just don't see, and we talked about this, Mark. Notre Dame was getting hot at the end of the year.
Oh, yeah.
And we know that they lost to a really big time underdog back in the beginning at North Illinois. But besides that, they've been on a run, and they've been playing really good ball. And the Ohio State, yeah, we know they went in and, the Eugene and get beat, and then Michigan, of course, like you always say, throw the record books out when those two get after it.
Sure.
You can't count that as really an underdog team, but they're playing really good too. But I just don't see a 10-point favorite right here. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, 10 points
I
feels...
just don't see it. That's big, isn't it?
That feels like a large
margin. Big number.
In this matchup, and I'll ask you for your prediction here in a second here, I am going to go with Ohio State. I do believe it's going to be under that 10-point margin. I'm looking at 34-28.
Well, and here's the deal. You hit it on the nose just a while ago. The defense for Notre Dame, they try to go man. Very seldom. They love blitzing. That guy can get the ball out so quick. Smith is going to tear them up. And a freshman, this guy, how much longer is he going to be there? Who cares? They're going to win this. You're going to win this game, and then he's off to the draft or whatever the case is.
Most likely.
More likely. But he has just too many weapons, and he can get that ball out super quick. Now, his rushing abilities obviously aren't as well as some other quarterbacks, but you said his pocket presence, and that makes it.
Oh, yes.
He really he's a Brady, a young Brady, so to speak. His vision is unbelievable. And, yeah, the weapons he's got, I think, are too insurmountable for Notre Dame to keep up with. And it seems like, you go to throw in, and all of a sudden, here they go with the run. And yes, they do run the ball very well. And their defense on the other side, they love blitzing. And they love staying close at the line. They'll stack it with 8 in the box, and then they'll go into a prevent. I like what you're saying. I'm going with the over. I'm going with possibly a good high-scoring game. Every bit of 38 to probably 30. I'm going to go with 31.
High-scoring game.
Yeah,
high-scoring game.
Mm-hmm.
When I think about NFL prospects over the last 10 years, especially at quarterback, there haven't been a whole lot. It's been more busts than anything, in my opinion. But what I think we're starting to see, especially with this last class, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, even Caleb Williams, honestly.
Right.
You're starting to see that resurgence from the quarterback position. I say that because I believe that if you watch this game on Monday night, you're going to see two of the next best quarterbacks to go to the NFL in prime time in a very big situation. And it'd be a really great first look at two young men that I think are going to do great things at the next level.
Oh, they're already looking right now. These teams are already looking. The draft's already looking at what team will suit their offense best already. I mean, not everybody needs a dual threat. You still have some pocket presence in some of these, and that's the way these teams operate. Not every team, the quarterback, for the Ravens, or whatever, even Josh up there at the Bills, even though his pocket presence is unbelievable, he runs the ball really well. And you're looking at teams and styles that are going to really be differentiated on these two guys that can run the ball and pass the ball. And I think that you're going to see these guys go high in the draft, and somebody's going to pick them up. And the question we'll talk about down the road, who needs a quarterback with their style? I'm pretty sure. But you want my answer? The Ohio State. And I know you and I are underdogs. We love the underdogs. I just don't see this team being able to keep up tit for tat with the scoring situation, to be honest with you.
Hey, we'll find out next week if we are eating crow or if we are flying high with our picks there. We have so much more to come on the show this week. We're going to turn the table to the NFL, where the playoff picture continues to develop. We've got some really great games coming up beginning today. We'll talk about it when we come back on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE.
Third quarter coming up.
For quarter number 3 of today's show, we take it to the National Football League, where 8 teams remain on the road to the Super Bowl this season. 2 big games today, 2 big games tomorrow. We begin with Saturday action, where for the first time since literally Christmas Day, the starters for the Kansas City Chiefs are going to go out and play a meaningful football game. And to my surprise, they'll have the Houston Texans on tap for today. The Texans took advantage of multiple Justin Herbert turnovers to overcome the Chargers, and now they're going to try to knock off the 2-time defending champs. If CJ Stroud continues to get the offensive line production that we've seen this postseason, it could be possible for the underdog Texans to get it done against Kansas City. We talked about the time off for the Chiefs. All that time off could absolutely be a hindrance for the squad. We think that if Houston's defense is able to pressure Patrick Mahomes just like they did Justin Herbert, could this possibly be the end of the road for KC? What are your thoughts, Trey C?
Well, I'm going to tell you right now, Marky, Herbert and Mahomes are two different categories. Okay?
Fair.
I'm sorry about that one, but let's flash back real quick. Diddly. All right. First of all, the top 4 teams, the ones that got buys in the college ranks, okay,
I knew you were going there.
they got some time out, and it didn't work in their favor.
It did not.
These are professionals. They're all banged up at this time. Their timing is not going to be off in 2 weeks. They've just been around each other too much. All right. They're not 12 games. They're not 13, 14, 20 games in by the time it's dust settles, okay? They know what it's all about being a professional. They needed the time off. An ankle hurting here, a thigh, a finger, it helps out tremendously. And I think you'll see that definitely with Kansas City and Detroit. But with Kansas City, go ahead, Houston, pressure Mahomes and see what happens. I'm sorry. I'm not a big Mahomes by no favorite, but
okay.
But neither a Kansas City fan. But what I am is the coach for Kansas City. And when you're good, you're good. It's just that simple. And they are good. 3-peat thing, no, we're going to save this for later.
Okay.
Let's just stick to the playoffs for right now. But as it is, you got to admit when a team's good, and Kansas City is just that. They're good. And Stroud's going to maybe have a good day. Holmes is going to have a better one.
Stroud, the Ohio State quarterback, picking up his second playoff win, and a very good one over the Chargers there. But when you look at the Texans defensively, it's a team that is very high on the charts in sacks and quarterback pressures. You have to expect that they're going to be bringing the house in against Mahomes, because if you give him time, he's going to punish you. So, this one I think really comes down to, is there rust on the wheels for the Chiefs? I know you mentioned different level of play, and I respect that opinion. Is there, if Mahomes comes out and does what he usually does, and if he can utilize specifically the play action pass, I think to help disrupt things and get the ball away in pressure, I think it's going to be a very long day for Houston in this one. I do. Kansas City, certainly the better team on paper, but, we've talked about it all season long. They're good, and they're really only have one true loss on the year. They just laid down for Denver in that final game, but it wasn't always easy, and it wasn't always pretty, but they always found a way to get it done. I suspect they'll do it here, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a close game in the end.
Well, and that was my next remark. The whole essence of the whole year, all their games were close. They were on 72%. They were under. Mm-hmm. Okay. Also, they didn't beat the spread. Okay. Now you're looking at 8-point spread right here. I think this game's going to be a little closer than that. Now, the way I'm saying is, I think Kansas City's going to go out big. I'll be honest with you. They're going to build up 24-7, something like that. And then you're going to see Stroud go to work. Maybe Kansas City sort of lay off, like you've seen them time and time again. And then when they get close, that 24-17 or 21-17, you're going to see Mahomes just stretch it out. Mm-hmm. Go down the field, take time off the clock like he's done time and time and time. Either kick another field goal or make another touchdown. And they may be right at that spread line. But I think they win by 7, not by 10. I think at the very end of the game.
I also see this being a one-score game in the end. I do. So you're going Kansas City in this one.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take the Chiefs as well. So let's go to our next Saturday matchup, and it's another number 1 seed that didn't have necessarily as much rest as the Chiefs, but it is a very solid squad. It's the Detroit Lions, and they have the red-hot Washington Commanders in Detroit. Now, listen, Washington may have doinked its way into the second round of the playoffs, but make no mistake, it's a scary good football team right now. Now, Detroit was kicked back, and they were watching the chaos unfold last week. Washington was in the trenches as the only wild card team to advance out of the opening round. Jaden Daniels looked great in his playoff debut. This will be the first meeting between Daniels and Jared Goff, and I think this might be quite the quarterback battle, but I think more importantly, this is going to be quite the running back battle. You know Detroit's going to go to the ground early to try to set the pace. They do it every single game. That is their bread and butter. If it doesn't look broken, don't expect them to fix it. They're not going to change anything. If the running game works early, you're going to see them work it to fruition. Now, for Washington to achieve the upset, they're going to have to make a defensive stand early. The Lions are good at defending the pass, so forcing Jaden Daniels to be more one-dimensional with his running game over his passing game, I think plays much better into Detroit's plans to advance to the NFC Championship game. I don't necessarily see this game being as close as the previous one. I think Detroit does whatever it wants to with the Commanders here. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely not wrong. And the time off, they desperately, you know how banged up their defense is. But like you said, their D-backs, they're some of the best. They've got, of course, the league-leading intercepting guy in the back there. But what they're lacking on is the mobility as their linebacker core. They're beat up right now. Daniels will and is going to do some running. This game is set up for a high-scoring game. I'll be honest with you. Now, 78% of the time, when the over is above 45, Detroit wins. Mm-hmm. They get this line at 55. I'm telling you right now, Goff is going to tee off, no pun intended, on their defense if they can block for him. Now, they've had a couple of sack problems here lately, and Washington was really strong their last game, if you recall. Did they give up some big runs? Well, sure they did. But then you've got two different styles of quarterbacks, especially at Tampa Bay. But then also, they don't turn the ball over. That was a big one. I think that was the one point that where Tampa Bay, the turnaround was, of course, when the fumble, of course. Yeah. But he just doesn't turn the ball over. He's an old, he's a veteran that's savvy. He gets rid of the ball when he doesn't have a receiver. He's not going to run the ball. He's going to get rid of it. He's going to get outside the tackles, but they've got to make sure that they contain him inside the pocket. But other than that, this is going to be a high-scoring game. I think they actually cover. Jaden Daniels, man, he is not a rookie. I know he's a rookie, but he's not, okay? He's just – but I think that their defense is going to have a day on him. But when it boils down to it, Mark, I think the turnover is going to be this. I think they're going to intercept him and take a little bit of his shine off of him.
Sure.
And then they're going to have to play from behind, and that's not what you want to do with Detroit.
A lot of pressure on a rookie quarterback. Of course, if Jaden Daniels goes into Ford Field in Detroit and absolutely lays a goose egg, doesn't perform, gets the jitters, whatever. I don't think you can blame the young man because he had a great season. He's taken a Commanders team that was, were they expected to do much in the NFC East this season? I don't think so.
They won 4 games last year.
They had the number 2 pick in the draft. They take a chance on a guy that won the Heisman Trophy that turns out he's a pretty good quarterback and does a phenomenal job this season. So, win, lose, or draw, I think Jaden Daniels' legacy is only getting better from here. I'm excited to see what that young man does for the future.
Rookie of the year.
Hey,
Rookie.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
He's already won that.
No doubt. It's just a formality at this point. But I love seeing these underdog teams, these teams that have been, cellar dwellers, bottom of the barrel, whatever you want to call them, really start to get their shine, add more parity to the league. I've got Detroit in this one mainly because I believe that the football gods are going to allow a matchup in the NFC Championship game that will also be the winner of the next game that we talk about, which is Philadelphia Eagles, Los Angeles Rams. Okay.
Oh, man.
You know where I'm going with that.
I know exactly where you're going.
But let's start here with Eagles and Rams. First of all, the Rams have just taken down the best wild card team to ever make it into the NFL playoffs. They have to be the most feared team in the NFC right now, maybe even more so than the Lions. The way they dismantled the Vikings, physically, mentally, emotionally, I think it's something that's going to be revisited down the road for this team. Of course, now between Eagles and Rams, there's some history between these two teams this season. Philadelphia took care of LA without issue, 37-20 back in November. It's the one where Saquon Barkley rushed for 255 yards and 2 scores. Now, while the sting of that contest still remains, you have to agree that this is a Rams squad that's playing its best football of the season right now. They're healthy. They got a ton of weapons. Cooper Kupp is back. Puka Nacua is great. Matthew Stafford already has a Super Bowl win. He's just knocked off the best wild card team ever make the playoffs. They've got a fire lit underneath them right now. Sean McVay in LA, I think, are ready to lead their city back to the promised land. Remember, it hasn't been that long ago since they were standing on top of the stage at the end of the big game. But Philly has never lost the conference semifinal round while playing at home. They're 6-0 in franchise history. Jalen Hurts is back, had that concussion issue with the weeks leading up to last week's game. He wasn't particularly great in the win against Green Bay, but he also didn't really have to be. Remember, the Packers were riddled with injuries going into that game. I think the final score showed it, but you remember the final score in that game, Eagles-Packers, a lot lower than I think most people were expecting to see, even with Barkley and Josh Jacobs and, the projected big running game battle that we talked about. I think that Hurts will have to be on his A game here in order for the Mean Green to head to the NFC title game, because I think the Rams are hot, probably the hottest team in the NFL playoffs, period, right now. And, now I'm looking in the back of my head, could we see Lions, Rams, the two teams that swapped quarterbacks? One of them won a Super Bowl, and the other one's now trying to win his first Super Bowl. I don't know, almost feels like it's fate, like it's in the stars.
Well, Philadelphia had some key injuries in that game, if you recall, on the line.
Yes.
And so Barkley, can he come back out? Because here's two things. First, they got to, just like you said, they've got to define the running game. There's no doubt about that. All right. Sets up the play action pass. We know about that. But here's also, Hurts has got to maintain the ball. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest deal right there. There's two things that I think is going to point out if Philadelphia is going to win this game. A, no turnovers. And right now, I don't know. His head trauma right now. I think that he's back in action. He got a little rust off of it. But the turnovers, we know that if he turns the ball over in the first half, they lose over 80% of their games, okay, automatically. They're not a good team to come from behind, I'll be honest with you, because they like running the ball. It's just that simple. Time of possession, similar to Detroit style, okay? Mm-hmm. But then again, you got the Rams on the other hand. Like we talked about, they were at the bottom of the cellar.
Oh, yeah.
At the beginning. Lose 4 right away.
Yep.
And then they just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. I think that they're playing some of the best ball right now. I'll be honest with you. I think Philadelphia is going to have their hands full with or without Barkley. I think the Rams take it. I'll be honest with you.
I do too.
On the road.
I picked the Eagles preseason before the season began.
I did too.
I picked the Eagles to be in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs.
Right.
And I mean, yeah.
But they're all healthy right now. That's the big factor. So
I don't know. I would not be surprised to see the Rams win this game. I believe that the Rams are going to win this game.
Mm-hmm. Can Stafford, can he stay out of, they love blitzing. The Eagles defense is something special.
Mm-hmm.
Can they keep him in the pocket and because he's one that likes to throw some interceptions too.
That's going to be everything. That's going to be everything.
If they don't protect
pocket
him,
protection.
That's it.
If the Rams do it, I think they win this game.
It's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be close. I really do.
We'll see.
I'm going like 24-21.
I guarantee you though, this one's going to be on my TV on Sunday. I promise you that. Another game that's going to be on our TV on Sunday is probably I'll just put it like this. My kids asked me this week and said, "Dad, why can't this just be the Super Bowl?"
Exactly. I said that earlier.
And I said, it's just they can't. They're both AFC teams. It's just the rules. I don't know why. I don't know why they make the rules. They just make the rules. Bills, Ravens, two offensive juggernauts battle it out with a trip to the AFC title game. To say I'm excited for this game is really just not enough. These teams have been absolutely on fire as of late. They feature probably the top two frontrunners to win the MVP in Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen. Buffalo fell to Baltimore by 25 points in Week 4 this season, and as good as the Bills have been in recent years, let's be honest, they've struggled against top-tier competition when it comes to the playoffs. This is their first really big test here. If they are going to win a Super Bowl with this group, they've got to get past this Ravens squad, who, I'll be honest with you, Kansas City, Detroit, maybe even LA, the Rams, I think the Ravens have a very strong shot of winning it all this season. Now, Buffalo's undefeated in Orchard Park this season, and it's a storyline that I think may play a very large role in Sunday's game. they're great at home. That fan base, electric. And just as impressive as the quarterback play is between these teams, so is the running back play. James Cook for the Buffalo Bills has been a huge asset for the squad this season. And of course, we've talked about Derrick Henry quite a lot. Can you imagine? He was, dare I say, rotting away on the Tennessee Titans one season with a top-tier contender, and look what he can do. They're both some of the best rushers in the NFL. They have 16 touchdowns apiece. This one, honestly, it could be a coin flip. But you got to admit, both teams feel like strong contenders to win it all.
You know, you got to love, and just what you were talking about, when you go up to Buffalo, the posse's there, and you love to the fan base there. When the offense is out, you can hear, across the lake.
Mm-hmm.
When the defense comes out, oh my goodness. And so obviously they're the 12th man. I'm not taking Texas A&M out of this, but anyway, definitely the 12th man. But I don't think these are professionals. When you go on the road, you know, it is a home field advantage a little bit. Weather, it's not going to be a factor. They've both played in sub-freezing temperatures before. But the running game, if you look back at the game that Buffalo just played, I'll go back to Cook and the other running backs. They're the ones that scored the touchdowns.
Yeah.
And it wasn't running all the time.
That's right.
It was catching the passes.
They can do it all.
So the weapon's right there. And I think that maybe Allen is starting to figure that out. And, of course, he loves to run, too.
Oh, yes.
Now, we know Lamar does, too.
Oh, yes.
But when they say co-MVP, I think Jackson still has the edge on here.
I do, too.
You know, and if Derek can get rolling, because sometimes you see him a little bit on the slow side at first.
I watched Derrick Henry last week run, I believe it was 14 yards, straight down the middle and slicing through the Pittsburgh defense for a touchdown. I couldn't believe what I saw out of a 30-year-old running back. And, you know, age ain't nothing but a number, baby, right? But he's got the ability there. I was super impressed with what I saw out of Henry.
I'm going to give the edge. I want Buffalo. I'll be honest with you. I really do. But I think I think Jackson's just going to be too much better.
I see you struggling.
I am, man. And I'm not a Ravens fan. I love their coach.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love their coach.
Yeah.
But I like Josh Allen, don't get me wrong, but I think Jackson's going to be too much for him. And Henry, I see the Ravens in a tight one here.
I do see the Ravens winning this football game as well. You know, it's amazing. You think years ago, Lamar Jackson is in the contract holdout, can't get the payout that he wants from Baltimore. Everybody else just blacklists him. And can you imagine all those other teams? He said, well, if the Baltimore's not going to pay me, I want out. He ends up staying with Baltimore and getting the MVP. Look at what he's done now. He's looking for 3 in a row.
And proving he's one of the best, if not maybe the best ever.
Now, this doesn't really apply to Buffalo because they didn't need a quarterback at the time. But for all those other teams that said, nah, we'll pass. Where are they now?
Yeah, good luck. We picked our 4. I think we're on the right track.
We'll find out Saturday and Sunday. When we come back, we've got some local stories to bring your way as we close out this week's show. Don't go anywhere. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition continues in a moment on 92.9 KVRE.
Fourth quarter coming up.
And the fourth quarter is here. No onside kicks coming from us, baby. We are going for it. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, 92.9 KVRE. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. As we take a look at our local roundup this week, we got to extend a huge congratulations to Lake Hamilton's Zane Pennington on 1,000 career points. He's the third Wolf in 3 years to join the club. Those basketballs will be bouncing over in Lake Hamilton. Wow, what a great squad. Great school. Pennington hit the mark during the recent Cameron Hale Invitational at Wolf Arena. No place better to do it. And in that brutal 5A South Conference that they play in, it's really just the kind of spark that I think the Wolves like to have. Lake Hamilton's in a close battle this season with Benton and Hot Springs for the conference's top spot. Pennington's a prolific three-point attacker, and he also has the ability to dribble and drive. He's 6'3" and a versatile scoring machine for Lake Hamilton as they push. They were very, very close last year. If you can remember, Tracy, they're looking for a state championship later in 2025.
You know, we've got some great teams, and it's so encouraging to see these young men and young women coming up and defying what, you know, their expectations and such, and getting some of these great records and setting them, and then probably going to be calling them on Saturday, you know, more than likely, and getting to see them more write-ups about them. But big congratulations. What a feat. And I can't wait to possibly, see the next level, because somebody else we'll be talking about will be hitting that 1,000 mark too, Mark. But congratulations. What a great young man.
And, of course, we'll be looking to get Zane's dad, Coach Scotty Pennington, on the show coming up. So you Lake Hamilton Wolf fans, be ready. We have heard your wolf cries, and we are absolutely listening. Hey, over at National Park College, basketball bouncing very, very well for the Nighthawks. Big wins for NPC on the road in Harrison against North Arkansas College. The Nighthawk women win 65-55 over a great Lady Pioneers squad, picking up their 13th win of the season. That's important because it is now the most single season wins in Nighthawk women's basketball history. Coach Eddie Broughton has these women on fire right now. That marked a 7-game winning streak for NPC, already the longest in program history. It's a team that continues to break records. It feels like every single game for this squad, and they've got a big game coming up Monday evening against Southeast Arkansas College. But the Nighthawk men also achieved victory against North Ark, and that was a huge win. The Nighthawk men were on a 2-game losing streak, first time in 2 years. And with that 71-65 win, the Nighthawk men, of course, as well as the Nighthawk women, both stand atop the NJCAA Region 2 standings, as both still vie for their first Region 2 championships in school history.
Well, Mark, and here's the deal right now. We're sort of not quite at that mid-season mark, but now we're conference play and such like that. And these are teams that relatively know each other. I know you got new members on the team, but now it's more of a chess match, because a lot of emphasis is on, of course, the coaching styles and such, but you got players that are starting to, level out, and the squad either, depends on them and such. And then you got, 2 and 3 times they'll be playing each other again, So I think the emphasis is on right now just seeing who's going to mature a little bit more and what players are going to be coming out of the shadows to help out or come off the bench, because bench play is so important in the second half of the season, and you know that.
Bench play is everything for both of these squads here. Of course, you can only start 5 of them, but some of these bench players really could start at any point for these squads. Both are looking extremely healthy right now, which is great. And of course, on the junior college circuit, you play each team in the conference twice, once at their place, once at your place. So, we're at that halfway point where NPC on the women's side, they've swept the competition in the first round of games. Now they're getting set for the second round of games, which does feature a lot of them at home. We talked about Monday night. Southeast Arkansas College, the Sharks come to the Kettle, 5:30 for the women, 7:30 for the men. Of course, you can always catch the live stream for free at np.edu/live. I know the guy that does those games. He's not so bad. That's Monday evening in the Kettle for National Park College. And boy, before you know it, the playoffs will be here before you know it. I believe the first week of March.
It's right around the corner.
NPC looks to hang more banners there in the Kettle. Tracy, great show this week. Talked about all sorts of things from football rule changes to the CFP final to NFL playoff picture, and very glad to be across the studio and out of the cold, back in the studio, back to work with you, and we can't wait. We've got some big interviews coming up in the next couple of weeks for some of our local basketball teams.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
So if you're like, where's all that? We loved that interview with Aaron Thomas. We want to hear more of that. Well, guess what? It is coming. You can follow the show anytime. You can text us at 501-915-1300. That's 501-915-1300. Let us know.
What was the question again this week about the?
Well, it's about the onside kick, and what are your thoughts on potentially removing the onside kick and replacing it with a one-shot 4th down and 20 to get it taken care of?
All right. Well, Texas 915-1300. Good show, Mark.
We're here every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. For Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. This has been Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE.
Game over.